Not even
We're
thinking
live.
about what I'm gonna say.
Okay, we are live. Well, that's not close enough. Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Mike. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know who I am. If you're new to this channel, if you're just logging in from a Twitter post that I did earlier, and you're curious about what's going on, I'll give you a real quick foundation of why I created a YouTube channel, why I made a presence online, and why I started doing what I'm doing. So I'm what's called a targeted individual. I realized in about May of 2017 that there were non-organic events happening in my life that were detrimental to me. There were people following me through town, people were breaking into my home, all kinds of weird things were going on. I started reporting that in November of 2017, which not long after that, I was set up and arrested on January 4th of 2018, spent almost 2 years in court, all the money I had left, trying to defend myself, ended up, anyway, I've got all that on my YouTube channel. If you go to my website, barredin.us, barredin.us, that will give you an idea about what I've gone through personally. And a lot of this has happened through federal, federal mandates, updates on watch lists, and funding to compartmentalized groups to possibly, a guess would be 1.5 million people in the United States. And more information is coming out about this now that proves what I've been saying for the last 3 years. So I've been documenting and reporting on this for just about 3 years now. It's coming up on 3 years. And I've gone through some things that a lot of people wouldn't even believe while I'm explaining these occurrences to them, unless it's happened to them. And while I was going through I still am going through this. I still experience a lot of the organized stalking and harassment, the covert death threats, it goes on and on and on. But in the early stages of the overt stalking and harassment, if I would have had somebody that would have had offered to help me out or just be a friend and help me get the word out there and help corroborate my story, I would have really appreciated that. And that's why Andrea and I have Amanda. This is Amanda.
Hello.
On the live stream today, because Amanda contacted us and actually drove out here from California, from Los Angeles, which is, from my research and my networking, communicating with other targeted individuals, California, New York, Texas, and Arizona seem to be some of the biggest hotbeds for targeted individual activity. People reporting the same type of things that we've gone through. So Amanda was isolated in LA, going through a lot of the things that I've been through, and she was in fear for her life. So we offered to, after thinking it through, when you're a targeted individual, it's really hard to trust anyone because there are people sent into your life to disrupt your life, to set you up, to do a lot of different things, and it's meant to isolate you, to make you self-isolate and not network with anybody, not trust anybody in your own life, and be just, like I said, self-isolate yourself. And that's not how humans are. That's not natural for humans to do that. And one of the things that I decided was, I'm not going to isolate myself for the rest of my life, and I'm also not going to quit trusting people and trying to help people that may need help. So basically, that's what we're doing right now. Amanda's been here for a little while now. I don't want to say exactly how long, but yeah, maybe around that time. We've spent a lot of time talking. Me, Andrea, Amanda, we've all spent time talking. Andrea is not a targeted individual, but I haven't shut up about it to her since she got here, and she understands more than most non-TIs do about this whole situation. She's seen it happen to me in person. They actually pulled some street theater stuff at her, on her at the grocery store, so she understands. But we've spent a lot of hours talking with each other, going over a lot of this stuff. Took a trip to Sedona together, which is only about 2 hours away. So went to Sedona and got close to nature and tried to recharge our batteries a little bit. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is Amanda has explained things to me that basically only a targeted individual could explain in the way that another targeted individual would understand what they're saying. Otherwise, a lot of times when you're a TI and they pull all this nonsense in your life, when you try to explain it to somebody, you sound crazy, because a lot of, I mean, I say that all the time.
Which it's meant to do. It's meant to make you sound like
you're a nutcase.
Yeah.
So, but she's taken the time to explain what she's gone through, and I believe that she's a targeted individual, and we wanted to help her start to create a presence online, on social media, YouTube channel, and help her get out of the isolation that she's been strategically put into. So that's where we are right now. So we're all sitting at the kitchen table, and we decided just to do a live stream. I was going to say we don't have notes. Andrea. Hey, Randria.
Getting them all mixed up.
I first want to say thank you to both of you and to you, Michael, for giving me a safe space after almost a year of covertly being, I hate to use the word stalked. I'm not a fan of using the word gang stalked. I don't like it, but that's the term that you use for it. I was a TI that was at a point where I wasn't safe at home. I had regular entry to my place, entry to my car, attempted accidents, death threats, poisoning. I was assaulted once, threats of like being set up for a crime, and this was all after figuring out that I was also put on the federal watch list in July of 2018, which was kind of the indicator that, and what with the information I've learned since, that's kind of the one way you can, for the other targeted individuals that are watching this, that you can actually figure out if you're,
That's something I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Not to cut you off.
I'll
But,
let you.
well, no,
yeah,
you can
thank
keep,
you.
you can keep going. I just wanted to. So Amanda figured all the targeted individuals do their own research and try to figure out what the hell is going on, how you can stop this, who's doing it, and one thing that she figured out that I had never even heard of, or hadn't heard any other targeted individuals talk about, is checking your credit report. And there's what is it that you found on your credit report
There
that said
should be some kind of OFAC inquiry, which is the Office of Foreign Assets. Oh goodness.
Control?
Control. Yes, which is one of the federal agencies. So it's highly likely that you have this inquiry on your credit report if you're a targeted individual, because it's one of the ways. Well, if you're on the federal watch list, I think you automatically get this inquiry, but it's through the federal watch list that they are able to slander, defame you, put you out of work, accuse you of being a quote unquote someone under investigation, turning your family, friends, your whole network to socially isolate you. This is one of the tools that they use that abuses the law. And I'll let you, yeah.
Okay, and that most of you here are not. After Joe Biden authored the Patriot Act, Department of Homeland Security was created, and a guy named Marcus Wolf, who was a secret Stasi officer, and another guy, I can't ever remember his name, from the Soviet Union, were consulted when creating Department of Homeland Security. So it was basically mirrored after the Stasi police in East Germany. So you have the Patriot Act, you have then the Department of Homeland Security was created, and then fusion centers were created to disseminate information from mass data gathering facilities to disseminate that information out to compartmentalized groups that stalk, harass, terrorize American citizens that have not been through due process and are experiencing extrajudicial punishment. And a lot of the people that were put on these watch lists, this information is via Philip Haney, who was a Department of Homeland Security officer who basically gave his life to put this information out. Said that in 2013, maybe even before, but 2013, the watch listing guidance was updated. Actual terrorists were taken off of these watch lists, and they needed to keep these. They put basically citizen journalists. They put a whole bunch of different type of people on these watch lists that are not a threat, to keep the money going, basically. And the way that they did that is DHS has the See Something, Say Something program. It takes 2 people to report somebody as a threat. If they're connected, it's easier for them to do this, and they'll put you through. They'll report you to Department of Homeland Security, and then put you through the FISA court, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act court, which is completely confidential, classified. You cannot do a FOIA request on the FISA court. And you might have heard something about this, maybe not in the mainstream news, but with General Flynn, George Papadopoulos, different people that were advisors to President Trump, were false dossiers were made on these people. They were put through the FISA court. There was no due process. They didn't know what they were charged with or blamed of doing, and they had no idea. So that basically is a standard operating procedure for the FISA court, and they make a lot of money doing that. So they want to put different people on these lists to keep those compartmentalized groups going, and that's how you end up on the federal watch list, because they once you are labeled a terrorist, which a lot of people, yeah, it's so ridiculous to even, I never thought I'd hear that coming out of my mouth. I'm a 15-year Air Force veteran, 5 years active duty, crash fire rescue firefighter, full time, and then 10 years as a journalist. I love my country, I always have, and I ended up getting put on one of these lists. So if somebody like me can get put on those lists, we're basically a threat to the deep state. So we're not a terrorist as far as being a threat to our country. We are a threat to the deep state and the corruption and all of this stuff that you're hearing about in the news, not in the mainstream news, but if you're following citizen journalists and you're keeping up with the indictments that are out there, we're the type of people that were a threat to uncovering their corruption, or in some cases just an easy target to put on one of these lists to keep people employed that want to pretend that they are doing something good for their country, but they're terrorizing. They're literally domestic terrorists. And this, I'm kind of rambling, but there's no short way to say this. This was, also you have to keep in mind that these watch lists were updated in 2013 after George Soros gave the Obama administration a boatload of money to update the watch listing guidance. Oh, yeah.
I'll just add.
Actually, I'm going to pull this camera closer so we can. Make sure you talk loud enough too, so because they always complain that they can't hear us.
Just to add one thing to, I guess, the reasons they add, you know,
Sorry, everybody.
targeted individuals to a federal watch list, that I don't think a lot of TIs are aware of, is that you may have had your identity.
I think it was buffering for a couple minutes. The thing keeps spinning on here.
Okay. You may have had your identity, I mean, I hate to use the word sold or submitted, but you may have had your identity given to a non-consenting human experimentation program, which I'm almost 99.9% sure I'm a part of, whether through DARPA, Neuralink, and so the federal watch list is a tool that enables these programs to basically use you and take your identity from you and use you as a non-consenting human experiment. And that was the other thing I kind of managed to figure out and realize that a lot of my targeting and the things that were being said and done and the way that I was being assaulted happened. Like, I guess I'm not saying this clearly, but
it's almost impossible to speak about
awful,
this in
yeah.
a linear fashion because there's so much to it. But what she's saying is exactly
loaded.
right. Are we buffering? Are people complaining that it's...
That's what I'm asking, because I keep seeing my circle thing on here. Every account that is added to this chat so far is a perp. Several years.
Oh, we expected
already
that. Two
It's
TIs
not
in
buffering.
the
Okay, thank you.
same place and somebody helping. That's going to happen. We had the conversation before it even started.
they don't want two TIs in the same place, supportive of one another, and we are for sure two TIs, so we expect.
And
that
I've been
to
here
happen.
for 4 months, and it's been pretty crazy since
Then
we've all
gotten
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
been
So,
talking.
but-
and, yeah.
Exactly. We've all and that's the last thing they want is for three people to all see the craziness that's going on because three people can't share a delusion. Three people can't
there's
imagine
witnesses.
a bullet flying through the
Through this-
window. So I'm not joking, actually. Let's see, like a week after you got here, a week after Amanda got here, we knew that there would be some kind of chaos or threat or something to try to separate us, scare us
And there's been more
from
than
doing
one.
this. And this is just one instance. It's been more than this instance. But just about a week ago, we're all upstairs. It's everybody slept in, and I had been having dream after dream after dream after. I wasn't sleeping well. I was having some nightmares, different things like that. So I slept in. It was just about noon. About 12:20, Andrea and Amanda both heard a pop, and I was still just kind of waking up. I didn't hear the pop. Amanda came downstairs and said,
I thought it was a water bottle that hit the floor and was leaking water. It couldn't be
I was
further
upstairs
from
on the other side of the house,
Yeah.
and I figured somebody was in the kitchen and dropped something, is what it sounded like. But I mean, it's a pretty long.
so Amanda says,
Well,
Mike, something went through the back window. And I'm used to chaos ensuing almost every day. Something crazy happens in my life. So I just calmly came downstairs and I looked at the back sliding glass door here, and there's a bullet hole in it. I didn't realize it was a bullet hole immediately, but there's a hole in our sliding glass door, and then through two of the vertical blinds. I made a video about it last week. You can go back and check out the video and see the proof. But there's a hole through the sliding glass door and two of the vertical blinds, and there's glass all over the floor in the house here. I did my wannabe detective investigation, what I've seen on TV, stuff like that. I'm like, okay, well, the trajectory of the bullet came from this way, so it's probably over here somewhere. So I looked where it possibly would have hit, and I'm looking at a refrigerator, looking at the wall. I don't see any bullet holes in that. So I get down on my hands and knees and look underneath the refrigerator, and there's the solid steel metal frame, and I notice there's a dent in that, and you can see that the dent is from the back of the bullet. Must have bounced off the ground, hit the refrigerator, and then I'm looking around to try to find the bullet, and it's next to the refrigerator. So there's literally from either like a 9mm or a 40 caliber bullet flew through our window and ended up in the kitchen, which obviously destroyed the back window. I need to pay for that. It was right after I made a little bit of extra money, but the timing was impeccable. Right after Amanda showed up, we offered to help her out and just, be her friend. That's what people need in this whole thing. They isolate you, so you have no friends, you have no family, and somebody, without being some kind of conspiracy theorist, I'm going to go ahead and say that was just not some random thing that happened, some random occurrence because of the timing.
We're in the middle of a neighborhood.
We're in the middle of a neighborhood. There's a golf course right over here. There's an open field, but there's nowhere around here that people just shoot guns at noon on a Tuesday. There's no gun range, nothing like
Nick,
that.
let me just interrupt. I think Nick is just dying to find out if I'm an MK Ultra patient.
Patient. There's no such
Patient.
thing as an MK
That, I get
Ultra.
this like every time I'm doing a live stream on here with him.
Patient?
I don't blink, so I'm a robot, and I'm an MK Ultra patient.
Oh, Lord.
No, yep. Nick, you need to do some more research on MK Ultra. They don't let you know it's some, that's what you're going through. You kind of have to find out on your own. And the only MK Ultra patient that I know of is Kathy O'Brien, who
Sorry, I'm just reading these stupid comments. Go ahead.
a CIA officer that was basically a white hat, took her in and helped deprogram her with a lot of time and love and understanding. That's the only person I've ever heard of that's actually a patient that got some kind of care from going through one of the Ultra programs, which there are many. So anyway, got distracted from the bullet going through the window, but that happened. Like I said, not long.
This might be something that you need to explain, because not a whole lot of people may have seen the whole other one. So you've got bullets flying through the window with your daughter walking around and sleeping there, and you don't call the cops.
I'd be happy to explain
yeah,
that.
go ahead and explain that, because there is a good reason. And
I will gladly explain that. So, okay, like I was saying at the beginning of this live stream, in January of 2018, 3 weeks after I uploaded a video of a police officer that was stalking and harassing me, who I tried to give a report to about this whole situation, laughed at me, made fun of a targeted individual that had died the day before apparently, which was most likely a bullshit story, and would not take my report. I tried to give her a report. She said, fill out something online, that'll get the ball rolling. 3 weeks after I uploaded that video, I was set up by a former police officer. I always have to reiterate, I'm not anti-police. I don't want to see the police defunded. I want to see the federal regulations that fund certain police departments to do these type of operations. Okay, so I'll get back to what I was saying. A former police officer, which I found out through some research after this whole incident went down, was stalking and harassing me at local convenience store. He pulled a gun on me, followed me to my house, chased me through the neighborhood. There were 12, 13 Avondale police officers on the other side of the neighborhood that arrested me for aggravated assault with a firearm. That's how I ended up with a felony, why I'm on probation right now, lost $50,000 in court through a kangaroo court system because I was on one of these lists and they treated me like a terrorist. So the people that I would be calling to report this whole situation would be that exact same police department, which is right across the street from my house. Two, when I was arrested, I'm a Second Amendment advocate. I own firearms. I'm a veteran. I have a ribbon on my medal, whatever you want. In the Air Force, they're called ribbons. For small arms expert, marksman. I had handguns, I had an AR, I had a shotgun, I had a bunch of different firearms. I had 2 different firearms, which that bullet right there could have been from. I had to take all of my firearms, I had to hire a private investigator to come to my house and load all of my guns up and all the ammo that I had and take it down to the local gun shop down here so I could store those firearms. After going through court for so long, I realized, hey, the fees for to store these firearms are going to surpass the total amount of the firearms. It's not going to be a good financial decision for me to keep paying for those. It would cost more than they're worth in the first place. So I quit paying that. That firearm store has an auction site. So when people lose their firearms in their lockers that they have, that they hold firearms for people, I assume they auction them off. I've never seen them after I dropped them off. Being a targeted individual, anything can be done to you. You have no rights anymore. So it would not be out of the question that one of the firearms that I used to own were obtained by the people that stalk and harass me and try to set me up, and used one of those to shoot over my fence and through my window. So this is just one of the scenarios that's going through my head as this whole situation is taking place. On firearms, when a bullet passes through the barrel of a gun, there's each firearm is different, and inside that barrel they have something called rifling. It's a little spiral grooves that makes the bullet spin so it travels truer and straighter. A bullet that has been fired can be matched up with the barrel of any firearm if they enter that bullet into the FBI database. So imagine if somebody used one of my previously owned firearms, shot that bullet through my window, I report it, they match it up, and it's one of my old firearms that they didn't sell legally, or they just gave it to somebody. That's a scenario that I have to think about, and it's not because I'm paranoid, it's not because I'm delusional or anything like that. It's because I have lived through years and years of these types of setups. And to make it through this, you have to be a strategist, and you have to learn to think like these criminal strategists think. So that took away the option for me to report that, and because I'm not going to be set up to look like a Jesse Smollett, somebody that would, did this to try to further a narrative that I'm targeted or people are going after me or whatever. So I had to chalk it up as just another event. It's not the craziest thing that's happened in my life. It's close. I don't think I've ever had anybody shoot through my house before. But I've been in staged accidents. They tried to kill me and my daughter on the freeway up near Ash Fork, Arizona. A lot of things have occurred like that. So there's your answer to that. When you're a targeted individual, you have to think about strategy, and you have to think about the potential ways that you could be set up, and options are taken away from you. You just don't have the same type of options. And just as Dr. Robert Duncan explained in Intelligent Systems of Control 1 and 2, their YouTube videos, he spoke at an event. He explained the process that a targeted individual goes through, and they use something called game theory. If you've seen the movie Beautiful Mind, what is that guy's name? Anybody? What's the guy that in Beautiful Mind? Anyway, no, not the actor, the actual guy that came up with game theory.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyway, game theory can be used for good or evil. As a targeted individual, you were put through game theory, and they put you through a series of measures and countermeasures, and you have to basically learn to play their game, whether you like it or not. Think strategically, think non-linearly, and make decisions based on your previous experiences and based on how basically an evil strategist would think. You have
John
to,
Nash.
John Nash. No, good. This is awesome.
Nobel
Yeah.
Prize winning mathematician.
Thank you, Jamie.
Oh,
That's
no,
that's Joe Rogan's guy that looks everything up. That's Jamie. Yeah, got two Jamies.
Happy
This
to
is
help.
awesome.
Do you
That's
have
awesome.
RMM and V2K occurring?
I'm not going to cover that right now. Actually,
Yeah.
I'm not going to.
Don't like to talk about things that
I'm
cannot be, sorry.
no, that's good. Yeah, that's just
It's-
something. Actually, we both talked about it before this, and it's just something we're not going to cover. We're going to stick to kind of foundational things that a lot of people would that haven't experienced this would be more likely to understand and digest that information. So those are just topics they're topics I've covered before. I've spoken with Dr. Duncan on radio talk shows. I've talked about some of this stuff before, but it's not something that we're all going to cover right now. So,
And it's
yeah.
also, I feel like it's so hard to.
I will
yeah.
I will say this: there are U.S. patents for
Yeah.
synthetic telepathy, for voice-to-skull technology, which is proven to be used in the Iraq War by the Marine Corps, and there are also patents for remote neural monitoring. Which one am I missing? Synthetic telepathy, voice-to-skull, remote neural monitoring. There are U.S. patents for all of this type of neural link technology, and
I have a list of the patents and the numbers too, which I can
okay,
We can
yeah,
either
we can add it.
do a video or I can add it to
Yeah.
your channel, my channel, so
Let's make that a whole
look for
nother
that.
video.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that stuff does exist. You could look up. Like I keep repeating Dr. Robert Duncan, but Project Soul Catcher is one of his books that he wrote.
They are.
Dr. John Hall talks about it in his book, Guinea Pigs. So these are technologies that exist. That's all I'm going to say about that right now. That's all I got to say
Okay,
about that.
real quick,
All right, so we're going to,
let me just make sure we don't skip anything. Michelle Woodson says, play the radio and a CD at the same time, parallel process your work and change frequencies and locations frequently, and by feel, reclaim as much of your brain as possible and stay alive. I don't report.
I'm sorry, that just sounds, that doesn't.
I kind of half got that.
Sense.
I'm a web developer. We need to build some kind of database of people that would like to make known if they are TIs or that they are TIs.
There already is one. Yeah, there
And
already is one.
He also says, then we can check these names if they fit the criteria of TIs. One criteria could be to, do you have this credit check against you?
I'm not sure what they mean by against me. When an OFAC, okay, so there's two things that happened.
The credit check that's on your credit report, I think, is just what you
The
referring
inquiry?
to. Yeah.
So,
I wonder if that's. Did you ever check yours to see if that was on there?
Nope.
so an
I wonder
OFAC,
if that's something that would be on everybody's, or if that just happened to be on yours. If there's a way to.
I'm pretty sure that there's a decent amount of TIs that are not aware of the fact that, so if you're on the federal watch list, you're never notified, just like Michael was saying, you're never notified, there's no due process, there's no redress. You have no idea what's been filed about you, which gives anyone who does this filing, and basically it's corporations. In 2015, about 1,400 to 1,600 corporations in the U.S. were given access to the federal watch list, where they did actually abuse their power and got people blacklisted for whatever reason. I'm not sure what is done first or reasons for why targeting for each person is different, even though we all experience, I think, the same level of violence and the same level of, what does level even mean? I mean, it's just so hard to describe, but
A lot of similar encounters.
tactic,
A lot of-
yeah. The same methods are used for everyone. To what degree each one is varies. Is what I learned what I learned in talking with you. So if you're on the federal watch list, which more than likely you are, if you're a TI, you will have an OFAC inquiry, and more than likely it will have surfaced or hit your credit report around the time that your identity, I guess, was given to the federal watch list. I realized that a lot of I was probably, is it covertly, and then there's
Covert and
Yeah,
overt.
overt, yeah. So I was covertly probably targeted long before I realized I was even on the watch list. I have never been arrested, not a criminal, no diagnosis, totally healthy, nothing, never done anything to anyone to be submitted to the watch list. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I lost 5 jobs in the matter of like a year and a half. And then I had friends and family that were told things about me that weren't true. What I heard was, and because they don't really actually tell you, it was along the lines of, I'm a prostitute, I'm a criminal under investigation, and there's a whole profile of,
It's part of the slander campaign.
yeah,
and we've
slander,
talked about it
defamation.
over and over. It's how they separate you from your neighbors, your family, your friends. They
Yeah,
think
socially
of the worst
isolate
thing
you.
to tell that person. And I think that the people that they tell this, they have information on everyone. They know what will trigger that person the most. So they'll tell that person the thing that will get the most visceral reaction from that person about you. So sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
Tom
But
said,
to,
hold on 1 second, because this is, you'll get this one. Ty McCullough says, they say they don't try to kill you, but they most definitely do. I've lost track of all the times they've tried to take me out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. I have been drugged. There's so many things. I mean, I've been drugged to the point where I just didn't even know if my body was going to be able to flush out whatever it was that I ingested. Prior to leaving my home, it kind of took me quite some time to recover physically. I was at a point where when I would walk into my place, I was being hit so hard with, well, I won't get into that. I could barely walk at home. My memory was affected. I won't get into what's used or why, but I am definitely a non-consenting human experiment because I managed to identify a couple of doctors from one of the programs that do non-consenting human experimentation. By the way, this information is all online. DARPA has, they talk about their programs, they talk about the fact that they use non-consenting humans, and they're not using criminals for this, and they're not using people who are ill, because they're using people to test equipment that is meant to build an artificially intelligent machine that they're trying, and that's a whole nother topic. So
Hold on, Mike, yes, I'm watching the chat. I'm trying not to interrupt and I'm trying to let them finish, but I do have a couple questions. And as soon as she's finished saying what she's saying, I'm gonna ask them. So just hold on, but there's a lot of people that are just throwing comments in there and I'm trying to filter through them. But yes, I'm sitting here watching the chat. One thing before you get any further past this, the same person, where did it go?
Okay, well, you're looking that up. Just to reiterate what Amanda just said, everything that we talk about is researchable. It's all online.
Yeah. Okay, so Preston said, send me a link to your channel, Amanda. That's another thing that is really bad with Amanda's targeting is
She's having a really
getting
tough time
online
getting
and
online.
getting her own channel going, even getting her Twitter up and running. Like we've been trying to get
it's been awful.
Uploading a photo
just
to
a
Twitter.
picture
start-
on it.
Yeah, so that's one of the things we're trying to help her do is to get that going. They don't want her online. People will follow her. People will listen to her. And that's part of the isolation. So we're working on that, or she's working on that.
What do you think of the UN investigation?
I'll add to that just
underway?
really quick. One of the most aggressive things with my targeting outside of was like threats of being kidnapped, and I do want to get this out there. Threats of being kidnapped, and I took it seriously. A lot of the stuff is deception, even though you are being drugged, you are being attacked. Yes, they are killing you. This is a slow kill program. Make no mistake about it. And people who are not, most people who are not TIs are not going to understand that because it's just what's not obvious to them is not going to be understandable. But I was highly targeted in the sense that my cell phones wouldn't work. It would take about a week or so to get a cell phone to put a call through. Everything was redirected. I found the company that does some of the call redirection, I think. I couldn't get online. Laptop was totally cut off. If I stayed at a hotel, because I was so desperate to get online and get in touch with someone, because I know that I needed to be somewhere safe where there was at least a witness around me because of the threat of kidnapping and all of that. Even going to a hotel, I don't know what would happen, but there's so much, it's such an abuse of power that like, I couldn't even tap into the hotel's Wi-Fi. And when I would go to the front desk or try to talk to someone about it, I would just get gaslighted. So that's, in my mind, it's like I had to take extreme measures to get to a place where I could be safe, because it's not even just being cut off with my phone and internet. They were giving me a hard time about renewing my identity. I haven't received my passport back, so it was and they've erased my work history. There's a lot of things going on with me where they're trying to erase my identity, and that was a big red flag. So I'm sorry to ramble.
It's impossible to talk about this without rambling. There's so much information. There's so many things that happen. There's things that happen to you literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you're not hiding away in your, even if you are, there's things that are happening to you with certain type of technological tech weapons and different things like that. So you never get a rest from any of this. And to try to explain all of it, you're just going to ramble on, and it's almost impossible to speak about this linearly because of the mass amount of information. And I think that's part of what they want, is for you to just go on and on and on and on, and then people will lose interest because people have a short attention span. So not our viewers. A lot of people are waking up and getting a longer attention span and paying attention to a lot of this stuff. So
Let me just
comments
say,
are awful.
let me just say, and I'm gonna mention that actually.
Yeah.
If anybody doubts how bad people gang stalk, harass, just make your life miserable for no reason, look at the chat that's going on right now, and look at how many trolls and perps are in here just talking shit.
And why would any rational human being listen to people like us that are well spoken?
If you don't want to hear it, then get off the chat.
Ignore them. But why would any rational person listen to multiple people talking about the same thing, giving references to back up the information that they're saying, and getting on a public forum and talking about things that are basically embarrassing? This isn't something we would choose to speak about.
Yeah.
This is something that we have to do. So if you're reading these comments in the live chat and you hear people saying terrible things about us, those people are most likely getting gift cards, or they get a GS government pay scale payment to do that. So we know that a lot of this is funded. People are paid in different covert ways. I've done videos about how they're paid. That's a long story. So anyway, hey, the more trolls that show up, the better we're doing.
It just takes it longer for me to go back to these questions that are coming up. Let me get to this one real quick, because somebody is repeating this question. Did you know that Obama gave CMU millions of dollars and UPMC millions of dollars when he visited Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to do research on remote neural monitoring?
So that's part of the BRAIN initiative. I believe was signed in 2009 or 2013. That's part of the BRAIN initiative. They wanted to study the human brain for, I don't even know what reason they gave, but they wanted to study the human brain. And what we're explaining is part of the whole thing.
The reason is Jade. There's an artificial intelligent machine that and you guys can Google this, Jade Helm 15. There was a military practice exercise that was going on in several states, and it's been happening, but people don't see it because I believe there's been proof that they're using TIs and this artificial intelligent machine. So as a non-consenting human experiment, it's so hard to.
Yeah, they use the AHA
Yeah,
ARPA,
because you have to talk about things that.
Yeah,
are,
they go into way into rabbit holes. So okay, so to understand what Jade and Jade 2 are, and this is actually newer information to me. Amanda told me about this and directed me to John B. Wells' Caravan to Midnight, which I've been the featured guest on twice. Philip Haney's been there. General Flynn has been a guest on that show. It's a great show. They talk about a lot of things that are going on in the world that a lot of people wouldn't believe, but then they back it up. So one of the people that worked on the Jade system, right, or knows enough about the Jade system to speak about it intelligently and get the point across and explain it. It's go to caravantomidnight.com.
DJ, the Talk with DJ.
Talk with DJ. That's not their real name. They had to hide their to keep their anonymity. But that completely explains Jade and Jade 2, this artificial intelligence system that they're using to control humanity, basically, and they're using targeted individuals for to upload information to this Jade system so it can react like a human, basically. That's a whole nother rabbit hole, but it's something very important that you should research. Check it out. Which is part of the Brain Initiative.
Half reading is a lot of that stuff was in the IARPA. Remember when I was going back through 2013, 2014, 2015?
Yeah. So there is DARPA, which is the Department of Defense division of. What does DARPA even stand for?
Department of.
Somebody look that up, por favor. So that is the Department of Defense division. And then Andrea found through some research IARPA, which is very similar, only it's the federal side.
IARPA. And if you go to iarpa.gov and then you go to, let me see where I found all of this stuff.
DARPA is Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency.
Okay.
And this
All
one's
projects.
intelligence.
So that's Department of Defense.
Yeah.
Intelligence, Advanced Research Projects Activity.
IARPA is federal, which they're both federal government, but there's two sides, and we can kind of see there's a battle right now in the world, and
If you go to hold on before I close this out. If you go to iarpa.gov and then IARPA in the news or the newsroom, that's where I went, and I went back through 2014 until 16, 17. You can kind of see how the things changed once you get into 2019, 2020, but a lot of those articles that come up, they'll have text links that you can click on that take you to other things, and it's just a whole nother rabbit hole that you can go down and see all of the.
So by researching, and we've said, all of this, there's information on all of this. DARPA, IARPA, both connected to the Brain Initiative that Obama signed in whenever it was, 2009, 2013. What were the acronyms?
Jennifer, there was a lot of stuff about the universities doing a lot of these studies.
A lot of this goes through Harvard.
So a lot of it's
MIT.
to talk about the people that do. Some of the people that do this, they don't try to hide the fact that they're from these universities either. I won't go too far into that, but yeah, it's kind of obvious that they're part of
because there's so many
programs.
Studies that they can do and.
Why do you have 10 of those people on one person? I mean, it's so ridiculous.
This is for Nick. I'm blinking.
There's a DARPA facility at Arizona State University, about 40 minutes up the road here in Tempe, that received what they get, $38 million for their research, something like that. So, but ASU, MIT is involved in this. MIT just tweeted out 10 times in 5 days that targeted individuals are delusional or suffer from, what was the word they used?
Delusional fits.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
Psychotic, something anyway. They were putting this information out, and then targeted individuals and other people that have researched this, that understand that this non-consensual human experimentation is happening, were replying to it with tons of links to prove that they were gaslighting people. So MIT is getting a little bit nervous that these programs are being uncovered, and every time somebody would add all of that information, they'd retweet it again, so it was fresh on the page. MIT is involved in this, and Harvard is involved in this. Dr. Charles Lieber of Harvard, he was the guy that was arrested for the coronavirus, COVID-19 thing. He was also involved in creating a brain mesh implant that they can implant in a brain, and it will grow into the brain, and they can connect through like a neural link with people's brains and basically control that person's moods, their emotions, different things like that. So, who also happens to be connected to a lady named Christine Grady, who was the head of human experimentation for the National Institute of Health, which just happens to be married to Dr. Anthony Fauci, who's Mr. COVID-19. So there's so much of this that connects through universities, federal government, and
Yale.
department. Yeah, Yale,
Skull and Bones.
I can't name anybody specifically from them, but if you've done any research on Yale, Skull and Bones, you can just throw them in there too. And a lot of other universities are involved in this type of
Yeah,
stuff.
can I
so-
remove somebody from the chat?
Yeah, no
I
problem.
wanna do that.
Over on the right over here,
As
Over- over
I'm looking
this?
up DARPA and the BRAIN Initiative,
or I think you can, yeah, right there, right
there's
there.
a few people I managed to
There's someone.
identify in my targeting, and so I'm looking for their names now, but as I began to go to the website, it was like initially blocked, which I thought was
Oh,
funny.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so this is a difference in the targeting that Amanda and I experience.
Ah,
I
hold
hardly,
on. Sorry. I think I almost just blocked the wrong one.
okay, I
It's just, it keeps moving.
almost never see the same person with the stalking and harassment that I deal with. There's compartmentalized teams, and I believe that some of them will move from town to town to kind of hide their anonymity so a person can't. They know that I'm literally an expert at documenting and reporting. I was taught by the Air Force at the Defense Information School at Fort Meade, Maryland, how to document and report. They know that I'll eventually get those people on camera, and I'll be able to show the repetitiveness of that. So I hardly ever see the same people twice. Amanda's been able to, she has a lot of the same people over and over that are stalking and harassing her. And she's identified some of them, and through her due diligence and research has been able to identify some of them by face and by name.
For the record, you all look like zombies, I just,
Yeah,
Oh, is that
yeah,
a new
they're-
one?
but yeah, I'm just gonna call out. So, yeah, the BRAIN Initiative was it initiated in 2013? And so with regards to DARPA alone, they hire, there's about 200 something people working for DARPA on these projects, and they hire people and doctors, psychologists specifically for a project. By the way, if you're a non-consenting human experiment, it's about $2 million a year they spend on, they have to secure intellectual property. That's done with the federal watch list because you have your rights taken away and you're not even aware of it. And they need to socially isolate you because the testing that's being done on you, any social interaction or normal life that you could have with work will interfere with the experiment. A lot of the TIs need to understand that you're attacked aggressively, all your senses.
in every aspect of your life.
In every aspect, so that you can trigger, I'm gonna say equipment, and if you guys have questions about that, I'll answer it, but whatever they're using on you, the attacks are used as a trigger to test the equipment they're using on you, and it's to get an emotional reaction. To do brain mapping with the artificial intelligence that the government's trying to build, they have to get an emotional reaction to facilitate that whole process, and it's a long process. It needs time. How much time, I don't know, because none of this is published.
So
But
brain mapping is also known as EEG heterodyning, and these are both things that you can look up. Go,
Yeah.
DuckDuckGo, whatever. Again, Dr. Robert Duncan will explain the brain mapping and the EEG heterodyning, same thing, how they do it and why they do it. And Brian 2 TEW, he has a YouTube channel. He's a targeted individual. To the best of our knowledge from watching his videos, he's highly educated on how a lot of this works. There's still a few questions about him. I know I've given him a hard time before. I told him he was annoying, but he's gone through some crazy stuff, and he has a high level of knowledge about this equipment that's used in the Brain Initiative and these non-consensual human experimentation projects. So that's something that you can definitely look up.
these programs and what's being done and why is so much bigger than I think the average person wants to believe or understand. And this has been going on. I mean, the patents for V2K, NRM, and so many of these other things see this, it's like they don't want me to, anyway, I can't get my words out, have existed for decades. Like, this is nothing new to them. It's just so quiet to the American public, so much that when we do speak about it, and I personally would have had a hard time believing someone, having not been targeted, hearing about my own story, but it's just unfortunate.
I've said the exact same thing.
It's
If I hadn't gone through this and somebody was trying to explain this to me, I probably would have ignored him or called him crazy, or there was other things I was interested in. It wasn't affecting my life, so I wouldn't have looked into it. You're basically forced into becoming an expert on all of this information because you're doing it to save your life. In all aspects of your life, financially, your relationships, your everything, your life, period. And so they call this no-touch torture, and it's nothing. That's not what it's more. It's more than that. But that's how they make themselves feel better.
Yeah.
So, and when we say all aspects of your life, they attack everything that you can imagine. In Germany, when this was done by the Stasi, they called it Zersetzung, and in German that means erosion. So they erode your life away, basically, and try to take you down to a shell of a person, just nothing. And that's one of the reasons I'm so adamant about getting the information out about this. One, to protect myself. One, to protect other people from this happening to them anymore. And the main thing is, I know in my heart that this was used on veterans that came back from deployments that maybe knew too much, or they saw something, it would be easier to get rid of them. They were considered an enemy of the state because they had combat training or whatever. We've lost 140,000 at my last count, 140,000 veterans to suicide since Joe Biden authored the Patriot Act. Those were not all just from PTSD, from what they witnessed while they were deployed. Those were from being put in these programs and being driven crazy and everything in their life taken away from them. Those are what those suicides are from. And I'm guessing somewhere around 180,000, because I keep hearing all these deep state puppets complain about Trump killing 180,000 people because he didn't respond to the coronavirus properly. And I know that they use transference and projection. When they commit a crime, they transfer whatever they've done to somebody else to let that person take the brunt of what they've done. And I'm pretty damn sure they know the amount of people that have lost their life in these programs, and that's the number. So think about when they keep blaming Trump for 180,000 people dying. Understand transference and projection, and think about what we're saying and how many people have lost their lives because of what we've gone through and survived through.
What is going
I don't know who this is, but he keeps asking about this.
Hydra, I don't know about Hydra.
What is
Operations.
off the book ops? Your toast.
Operation Purple Dragon was what it was called in the Air Force.
Oh, what? Operation Purple Dragon? That's what it was called in the Air Force. Charles Hall. Charles Hall is a targeted individual. I believe Charles. Correct me if I'm wrong. You might be here in Phoenix, but Charles was is a Marine Corps veteran that's gone through this. Huh, interesting. So I don't know anything about Purple Dragon. I've never heard that before, but that would be good. Something good for maybe you citizen journalists, digital soldiers to investigate and find the information on that, if there's anything out there about that. What did somebody say? Off the books?
Oh yeah.
Operations?
Off the book ops, and then so 30 years as a target. Hello. You wrote off the book ops. Your toast, and then he said off the books, quote unquote, didn't happen. Yeah, what is? I'm just curious what that means, but yeah, maybe he can clarify. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Any comments on this?
Oh, going off the grid would not help. There's no going off the grid with these people.
It doesn't
They
matter.
know exactly where you are. The key is
Oh.
well, I don't want to give.
That-
I don't want to say
Give
too
away.
much.
Okay, so somebody asked about Bill Binney, the NSA whistleblower, is helping us. Any comments? Absolutely. Bill Binney's one of my heroes. Bill Binney created Thin Thread. It was a terrorist detection software that would have not included all of this nonsense that we've gone through. It would have actually been used to identify terrorists. General Hayden of the Air Force, who was also, I believe, the head of the NSA, scrapped Bill Binney's Thin Thread program and was instrumental in inserting this whole thing that we're talking about. Just one of the many cogs in that got this going. So Bill Binney was targeted himself, went through a lot of this, goes through a lot of this stuff. He's lost both of his legs. There's a movie, actually, a documentary that was done about Bill Binney called A Good American. I think you can rent that on Amazon, YouTube. Just look it up, A Good American with Bill Binney. And he still is advocating for targeted individuals and speaking out about a lot of the same stuff that we speak out about. I've been on some of the same talk shows as Bill Binney, talking about some of the same stuff. And he's definitely way up there as far as a huge advocate for targeted individuals. Right about the same level as Ted Gunderson, who is also one of the FBI director that blew the whistle on satanic ritual abuse and targeted individuals and the things that they experience. So yeah, Bill Binney's a good guy. As far as I know, I haven't been proven otherwise, but the things that he says and how he advocates, he's definitely a white hat. He also proved the Russian collusion narrative is false. You can look that up. Yeah, he's definitely targeted. So
To say we're satellite tracked is exactly, that's exactly what it is, actually. Satellite, and there's another method, I believe, as well.
yeah, I'm sure there's all kinds of different ways they can track us, but I do know this. Somehow, somebody knows where I'm at 24 hours a day,
Yeah.
7 days a week, and that information is told to me, basically. I know it because there's people waiting for me when I get to a certain parking lot, when I go to a certain store. There will be live action role players, LARPs, waiting there. They're like false flag actors, live action role players, false flag actors, gang stalkers, they're all cousins. They're all in the same family. They're all funded through the same type of thing. And they're used for social engineering on an individual level and on a mass level.
And I'll add to that by saying that, and I like to be very careful how I talk about these programs and the technology that they're using, but there is a patent for this also. A lot of targets don't understand how they can like get out of their car, and as I used to live in a multi-story building, and go back to their car maybe like 5 or 10 minutes and actually see proof that someone got in. If you're a real TI, you have regular break-ins. And so there's equipment, there is technology where they have access to your eyes. Who was it from Brian Coffron, who worked for one of the federal agencies that actually
Brian Coffrin.
Brian Coffrin actually talks about the fact that the technology has existed where they can.
It's tough to even
I
say.
hate to even
I
say
don't
this,
talk
like,
about this too much,
but you know, I like to show patents, and I like to show. I like to talk about facts, and and so I don't really. I mean, I could probably look up the patent right now, but they do have technology where they can actually see exactly what you're looking at. I'll say it that way. So wherever you are and whatever you're doing, whoever is the controller usually knows about how much time they have to get something done or to set you up, and that's why it just feels like it's so precise and accurate. That among a few other things. So.
And there are also videos on YouTube. I've never talked about that part. But there are YouTube videos where they're showing these experiments they did with cats, and they inserted a microchip into these cats for a Neuralink interface, and they're showing on a video screen what this cat is looking at. I've watched the videos. I'll just stop there. But the technology that's used in this whole thing it's straight out of movies, which is why the CIA has had, I don't know if they're still doing it, has representatives that approach Hollywood producers like Tiffany Fitzhenry, who's talked about it. She was a screenwriter, and she explained how the CIA will come in and facilitate. They will make producers change things in the movie that they want taken out, and they will also use Hollywood propaganda to make something like what we're talking about right now seem completely ridiculous. Like, oh well, that was in you just watched some movie and you think that you live in a movie, you know. But they'll put the truth in plain sight and put it in a movie. So when you explain this type of stuff to somebody, they just have the easy opportunity to say, oh, that was in a movie. You believe you're living in a movie, which is a good segue to Bill Wood. I'm not going to talk about a lot of what he goes over. I'm going to answer that question for sure.
Okay.
I'll just say this real quick about Bill Wood. Andrea, you saw one of his videos a while ago?
Long time ago.
And
it was
you
an old
mentioned
video.
something to.
And then
both of us?
I'm like really into researching because I want answers, and so
To the whole.
But
so
let's
the whole
not-
I
whole
like
thing, the
I want to
bigger
see the
picture
whole
of it.
picture. Yeah. So I started watching the Bill Wood Looking Glass video that Andrea suggested, and then I found maybe we can attach
newer
the
ones.
links. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there
let's do
was some videos that Bill Wood, and thank you so much,
Bill Wood.
Bill Wood. Thank you so much. If you see this, I'm so grateful that you had someone post those videos and suggested the book, The Log One, because that has provided so many answers. And I encourage all TIs to watch his videos that were published in April of 2015 on the YouTube channel Suzie Hoozie, so Suzie, and then last name is WHOSEE.
I'm posting them right.
Yeah,
I'm
so
trying
Andrew's
to.
gonna post those.
I've got-
It definitely was targeted, went wrongfully sent to federal.
Let me
Yeah, I'll let
interject real quick.
Mike take over.
Without going too far into it. Bill Wood is a former Navy SEAL and combat operator, basically, that was deployed in many different situations. He was given a direct order to fire on civilians, a Tomahawk missile, I believe, and he used his own judgment to divert one of those. Let's see. Disobeying a direct order in the military can turn out really bad for you, which is a bad thing. People in the military need to be objective and make conscious decisions that will save civilians' lives and not take out military targets. I'll just leave that at that. That's what Bill Wood did. He was targeted. He went through hell, lost everything. He is highly knowledgeable, and he talks about some things that I haven't even made it. Well, I mean, I watched his videos, but I'll just stop at that. Watch his videos. We'll put the links here.
I'm trying to post that. Can somebody let me know? I just tried twice to post those videos. I think I'm gonna have to link them at the end.
Okay, I want to answer this question. Okay, we lost our connection there. I had to reconnect, so sorry about that.
Do you know why a young 30-year-old stay-at-home mom would be targeted? I found your channel a few days ago because I have a feeling that my family is being targeted.
Okay.
They use a wide range of people.
So yeah, in these non-consensual human experimentation programs, they need a wide swath of different types of people to. How did they put it when we were looking it up, to get a better overall results? Long story short, all types of different people are put into these programs for various different reasons. Some it's because of their human attributes. They're empathetic. They have a high IQ. They are intuitive. There are many different attributes that a lot of targeted individuals possess. That's one of the reasons why some people are targeted. Some people are targeted to shut them up. They might know, quote, too much. They might have witnessed corruption in some fashion that they could testify in a court of law, and they want to put the person through this type of experience to get them committed and get them labeled as delusional or schizophrenic, which once that happens, you lose your capacity to testify in a court of law. They just want that person gone. Sometimes they will be after the assets of that person, and sometimes a person will be targeted for the simple fact that they are easily isolated.
Sometimes your family.
And sometimes your family will
Submit your identity to this program for
will
whatever reason.
sell you into this
Yeah.
as some type of sacrifice to the family. A lot of this has to do with cult, ritualistic type sacrifice. You heard Ted Gunderson talk about satanic ritual abuse. In certain families, those families will elevate up through the ranks if they sacrifice one of their own family members. And when you hear the term sacrifice, a lot of people think of a pentagram on the floor and somebody laying there, and they're, that's not always what that term means. Sacrificing a family member would be basically sacrificing him into one of these programs.
Where they would receive money as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Receive money, receive more connections, higher, influence, different things like that. A lot of positive things for them for selling out one of their own family members. I still have questions about who did this to me. This has been going on a long time in my life. My dad worked for Lockheed Martin, the same company that John Benet Ramsey's dad worked for. I'm sure most of you know what happened to John Benet Ramsey. There are multiple other people that I've spoken with that are experiencing a similar situation to what I've experienced that had family members that work for Lockheed Martin. So there are so many different reasons that people will be put into these types of programs there's never really a definitive answer until you do your own due diligence and do your own research, networking, and communicate with people to come up with the most plausible conclusion for yourself.
Yeah.
Here. Those are just some of the questions from, I jotted something down at the top.
Okay, so
Go ahead, sorry. I'm
Andrea,
trying to
no,
interrupt.
that was the perfect stopping point. So Andrea's trying to make it through all the questions over here, and we're trying to answer, the ones that would be most fitting.
We
for
have
this
some
situation.
questions from your Twitter, because it's getting too hard, because there's so many people talking on here. And every time I'm trying to read a question, there's just more that keep popping up. We do have several questions from the Twitter post that you put up the other day, just wanting to know kind of
Yeah, I
what
sent out a tweet
talking points.
asking people what you would like me to cover in the next live stream we do. So Andrea's got a few.
You see anything on there you wanna?
Well, how to detect, stop phone computer hacking.
I don't think
So,
there's a way to do it.
The one
That's
thing I want to say
What happens
is
to you the worst?
you need to keep in mind that you're not just dealing with government officials that are they're now using artificial intelligence, and if you want to understand how this machine works, it's highly likely that this is the program that they're using, and if so, your phone, your laptop are connected to this artificial intelligence as well. It's the artificial intelligence that actually creates the block. So you have to understand that it's highly likely you're dealing with that when it comes to hacking. You have to find a way, because targeting is, again, even though it's all the same methods, it varies in degrees. For me, the getting online, like I can't even upload a picture of myself on my Twitter account. So as I'm adding accounts, as I'm retweeting, I can't even get an image up. I'll be doing other things, and hopefully that will change. One of the things I did though was I decided what the greatest threats were for me and what those threats might lead to, like the possible outcomes. And for me, it was important to.
Hey, you're getting
Sorry.
props right here.
Oh,
Crowless on point with AI theory.
thank you. Yeah, it took a lot of research, and I really do dig. So if you guys go to Caravan After Midnight,
Caravan to midnight.
Caravan to Midnight, very sorry. There is a talk with a woman called DJ. I know you mentioned this, Michael. I just want to say this again. She currently works for one of the federal agencies, and the depth and the amount of information provided by her in this one talk about the artificial intelligence you won't find it anywhere else.
It's amazing.
It's amazing, and you need to get a very good idea of what you're dealing with in order to understand how to find a way through it or around it. And that's in all of the targeting. For me, it was really aggressive, and once I realized it was an AI machine, me specifically, I've had I came across enough information where I realized I was part of a non-consenting human experimentation program, more than likely DARPA, and probably the BRAIN Initiative. And if so, definitely this Jade Helm artificial intelligence. So there's Jade, Jade 2, GeoInt. These are all three different artificial intelligent machines that DARPA and the government have been working on for decades, and they're testing it on people so that they can use it on everybody.
We're the beta.
Yeah.
If you've listened to my channel, whatever you want to call it, over and over, you've heard me say this on social media, in my videos. We are the beta test for the rest of you. So we're trying to put this information out so this doesn't become the controlling factor of all humanity. They are trying to create God. And you wouldn't have never heard me say this a few years ago, but we already have a God. We don't need artificial intelligence to be running humanity as God. We
And
are
if you
organic.
haven't noticed, there are so many things that are slowly coming. I mean, when you go to a fast food place, you order through the little kiosk thing. I mean, simple stuff like that.
We're-
It's everywhere now. There is a website, real quick, and then I'll let you finish.
Good.
It is theearthparty.net, and this is actually a Twitter user that I found that had their website linked in their bio, and might be a little bit too much for a lot of people, but there is some really good information that talks about the AI, theearthparty.net.
Yeah.
Did you find that one?
I
Or
did.
look through it?
I did.
It's really interesting. But anyways, oh, okay.
I'm typing it in.
Theearthparty.net.
You know what? I should find that talk and add it to the Caravan of Midnight. And the other thing I wanted to say is,
That's really
I
cool.
saw 2 comments about iCloud and Apple ID.
Oh,
You guys are absolutely right. They will. One of the first things that happened to me when I was overtly, when it was made obvious to me that I had been a part of this program without realizing it, was phone was hacked. My iCloud had 5,000 images and a bunch of information, all just hacked, taken from me. It was awful. And so with iCloud, you do have to be very careful. You may want to try and just get some kind of storage that's off your laptop, though. Listen, they have access to everything. I just want you to know. There's no
Literally
your
everything.
passwords, whatever it is. It's a harsh reality, but you can't hide anything, and especially if you're downloaded with, the technology that makes use of your own senses, your eyes. So, but
Or let's say,
how do you advise on that? I mean, it's
yeah,
just,
basically, okay, so there are, okay, in the world of this epic fight, that is biblical, there are good and evil. There are the white hats and the black hats, and a lot of them have the same type of technology. Okay, the easiest way to say this, there are good guys out there looking out for you that are keeping track of all of this and watching almost in the same fashion that the bad guys are. I don't know how other way to say it.
person of interest.
So the only way to push through with the hacking and stuff like that is just don't give up. Keep trying over and over and over. Put yourself out there, explain your story. Somebody will see it. There's an artificial intelligence that's being used to combat this as well, and algorithms that are used, and I've personally feel like I've received some help from those guys. There's no way I haven't.
Sometimes I feel protected by people with the same tech.
Okay, so
And then
Awakening,
somebody else was asking, or something
Awakening
about Antarctica.
144, sometimes I feel protected by people with the same tech.
We've been noticing that lately a little bit.
I've been noticing it more and more recently, to where I feel more protected. I get these, we'll just call them messages. It's a way of communicating covertly, and it's a long, drawn-out process. If I explained the whole thing to you, it would just sound ridiculous. I mean, it's like through license plates and through social media, and
Somebody was talking about that.
it kind of builds
Yeah.
up throughout the day, so by the end of the day, you're getting the message. And I have received more and more positive messages recently than I've ever received. I know QAnon says that there are no outside comms, and I probably shouldn't even say this out loud, but yeah, never mind. Anyway, I've gotten a lot of good positive
Bill Brockbrader, his
reinforcement.
videos,
Bill Wood.
Bill Wood and his videos, and Here, I'll add those
Yeah,
links.
just know that there are good people out there. There's 199,000 sealed indictments. There are 21,000
Oh, that website.
unsealed
To get to.
indictments. Oh, that's a good segue to a new topic. So,
Yeah,
okay,
here, I'll
well,
add,
we're just talking about all the stuff that.
because
is
it's
gonna-
all so important.
Of course,
Get
Trump
my-
knows about all this. Somebody just asked.
Yeah. Trump was brought in by the white hats, the good side of this, to help get rid of this cabal that is using all of this technology to destroy lives, to disconnect people, to create chaos and fear as our main motivator in life. He is the chosen one. I don't care if anybody thinks that sounds crazy, but I
The
believe
more you learn, the more
this makes sense.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I love President Trump. He's the greatest president we've ever had. In my opinion, that's my personal opinion. I don't care if anybody disagrees with me or thinks otherwise. Do some research.
I'm going to make sure that there's a few links in here that we've talked about, and I've tried to add the links into the chat, but it's not letting me. When this is over and when it's uploaded as the full-length video, I'm going to make sure that we go back and include some of those links. There's a few different ones that Bill Wood, what was it that
He's
Above
got-
Majestic would be a good one. We just watched that. Somebody said something about Antarctica and what's going on there.
Okay, so yeah, Antarctica, Above Majestic with Jordan Sather, Jean D'Souza, David Wilcock, Corey Good. They explain a lot of things that would be helpful to research. Yeah, Above Majestic, it's on Amazon. Watch that.
Laura Eisenhower,
Who-
Dwight Eisenhower's great granddaughter. If you find her on YouTube, she has a lot of really good information in her videos. Laura Eisenhower. Who else off the top of your head?
Caravan of Midnight,
Caravan of
the
Midnight.
conversation with DJ
That's one of the most
about
important.
AI.
If you're specifically
Mhm.
trying to learn about being a non-consensual human experiment, aka targeted individual, that might be the most important video for you to watch to understand the bigger picture of this whole thing.
Which one?
The-
Caravan of Midnight with DJ,
With DJ
about Jade
Jade and
Helm
Jade 2.
and Jade 2 and GeoInt, the
It-
AI intelligence.
It connected, it basically, it connected all of the compartmentalized stuff that I've been researching and understanding for 3 years now. When I watched that video, it kind of was the umbrella over all of it that connected it all together. Yeah, that's good.
I'm trying to add Bill Wood's, one of his videos here. I'm going to do my best. I don't know if you guys are going to... it won't let me.
Yeah, it won't let us put anything with the link in
We're
there.
gonna have to add
Hold
it
on.
below.
While I'm at it, part of what I was just talking about, brain freeze. Patrick Berge, Private Patrick Berge, created software called ShadowNet. It's a social engineering software, artificial intelligence that steers certain, like, different parts of society in different directions politically. That is used in this whole thing for a lot of different reasons. Research Patrick Berge and ShadowNet. He just came out with a documentary with Millie Weaver, who was part of InfoWars, and it kind of threw up a red flag to me when I was like, wow, Patrick Berge is being interviewed by Millie Weaver.
That's his Twitter right there. In the link.
PFC Berge. Yep. Okay. So there's PFC in the
That's
live
Patrick
chat.
Berge's
Patrick
Twitter
Berge's
handle.
Twitter handle. Check him out. He created the ShadowNet. But one of the things that kind of proved to me that Millie Weaver is on the good side, after she did this interview with Patrick Berge and helped get this information out about ShadowNet, Alex Jones immediately got on InfoWars and disavowed Millie Weaver and said, good luck, good riddance with the people you're working with, see how they treat you. That's all I gotta say about that. All right, what next? Okay, so one of the reasons we were doing it, one of the main reasons we were doing this talk is to introduce Amanda and
Thank
to
you,
help her
guys. Thank you so much.
create,
Thank you, Mike.
to just shine light on, and to get her, to keep her from being isolated and to create a presence online. So what,
Courtney keeps asking about, what do you know about the chemicals they spray on us?
You know, that I will say that the chemicals, they use different degrees of some of those chemicals. With me, it's one of the things that made sorry, I didn't even get.
That's okay. I just wanted to see if there was anything
I
else
started
that
at the
we need to-
bottom, but there's a lot. I had chemical targeting in my home where I couldn't even keep food in the fridge. It was just pointless. I would get sick with everything. I had infections on my skin and just burns. You know, they would leave stuff on my pillowcases, on every handle in my house. But the problem is, unless you get it tested, you don't really know what they're using. I do know one thing. There is a nerve agent. It's either called VX, it's used by the military, and I'm gonna use the word mild. I think it's mild enough where, I mean, it definitely does damage. It was put in my water supply and being used somewhere else to the point that it just, I had signs, it's just awful. I don't even know how to describe it. That's all the only thing I know of is that nerve agent. I never got around to figuring out the other things that they use, but that in addition to the, do you guys talk about ELF waves? I mean, I don't know if we should
well,
get into
I
this
talk
or
about
not.
extremely low frequencies because
Yeah.
Alexei Alexander, who was a targeted individual, he was driven crazy, and he went to the place where he knew the people were doing this to him, and he was one of the active shooters, which is one of the main reasons that they do this. They want targeted individuals to, so I'm gonna have to go off on a tangent.
No.
They want targeted individuals to react in a violent way, so they can use that immediately for a social engineering. Like he went to this place and shot this place up, shot the people that were destroying his life, and on his shotgun he scratched in the bottom of his shotgun, "This is my ELF weapon." So extremely
agents.
low frequencies. Yeah, go ahead and explain.
No, I was reading the
Oh, okay.
comments. Yeah, it's definitely, it looks like,
Frequencies to affect your mood, to aggravate you, to cause depression, non-organic depression, to push it along, to make things worse for you.
thank you, Dominique.
Yeah, so I've talked about ELFs before, but yeah, research Alexei Alexander, and while you're at that, look up Myron May, who is an attorney fighting to help a mother regain custody of her child, and he was targeted to the point of what he felt like was no return, and similar thing happened with him. So, while I'm on that topic, one of the there are many reasons.
I know, I have to add something small too when you're done.
Okay, that these programs take place. They're used for social engineering. They want people to act out in aggression so they could use it for social engineering, for the fake news, to create narratives. They want to fuel the private prison system. They want as many people in the private prison system as possible because they're making $40,000 to $100,000 a year per person. They want to fuel the mental health institutions, which profit $15,000 to $20,000 a week by getting somebody in there. If somebody's going through all this, they explain it, and they get committed for 30 days. They just made all of that money off of that person. Big Pharma benefits from this by putting people on psychotropic and SSRI drugs.
Devil's breath.
And there's so many more things. What were you going to say?
Michelle Woodson, you mentioned, let me see if I can pronounce this right, scopolamine and devil's breath, and I want to,
Much going on.
I want to say this.
Mention why.
One
that
of the
doesn't-
things that helped me with regards to the chemicals, and by the way, there's nano dust everywhere in your place. If you've had break-ins in your car, there's nano dust everywhere. That's like one part of it. Look out for Charlie. I want to give him a shout out. He's on YouTube, and I believe it's LOOK out FA Charlie. He mentioned using, and this sounds really harsh, antibacterial dishwashing detergent. So for a good 6 months, that's what I showered with. That's what I washed my face with. And it was the only thing that completely got rid of it prevented the reaction of the chemicals. The other thing, borax, powder borax. It's like $5 to $6 from Target or in any supermarket. Wash your clothes with this. Wash your clothes without laundry detergent and just in borax to get rid of like the chemicals and the nano dust that they're leaving behind. You can clean your house with it. Your bathtub, if you take baths, and they're going to put this in your bathroom and your bedroom and your kitchen too, more than anywhere else. All places where you can ingest and, get it in and, in your body as fast as possible and in great degrees. So borax is a big helper if you start cleaning with that, washing your clothes with it, your bed sheets, all of that. And then I know it sounds crazy, but antibacterial dishwashing detergent has worked wonders for me. And I, thank God, don't have any of that going on currently, or a very minimum amount of it. So I hope that helps. Also, vitamins are so important. Just a basic multivitamin, and then with your targeting, they do target like the calcium levels in your body, so you want to get a good potassium, magnesium, calcium. It'll help you get some kind of rest. Calcium is really important, or calcium, potassium, zinc. Those will keep you from getting really sick if you do it regularly and take in a lot of water. So that's what I wanted to say.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna answer a question. Somebody
Sorry, I
is.
hope I didn't go.
We're doing great.
Okay.
This
good.
is
All right,
probably.
good.
I can't think of any other topic that would be tougher to explain
It's crazy.
logically and not sound like you have just lost your mind. And we're doing a pretty damn good job, if I don't say so myself. So, okay, somebody is asking, where did it go?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Okay,
Which one?
somebody was asking CJ777 and Jennifer Burns was asking why I think Trump knows about this and he's doing
Oh yeah.
something
Why does
positive
it seem
for
like
us.
Trump isn't?
Read it.
Yeah. I don't know where it's at.
Okay,
There's
it
so
says-
many in here. It would take a minute. They keep bumping around.
They were asking, Trump has known about this for, if Trump knows about this, why has he been in office for years and he's doing nothing about it? And I don't think that's the case at all. This is something that has been going on for, let's just say minimum 50 years, possibly longer. Technology has been, after World War II, 1947, we'll just start there. Okay, so these weaponized systems have been being put in place since after Project Paperclip, Operation Paperclip, continuously for decades and decades and decades. And now, President Trump and the White Hats, the good people, the good people in the government that are trying to break down these weaponized systems. Now, a lot of the things that we're talking about are trying to break down something that has been being built up for decades. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's an election coming up in 63 days. And 2020 has been the most ridiculous year with chaos and destruction and distraction and division, race baiting, explosions, fires,
And the
slander,
reason that
everything.
they're doing that at such an enormous scale is so that he can't get more done. He's
Exactly.
getting so much done, but imagine if all that wasn't going on.
How much more he would be, and it's not just him. You know, he's the spearhead of this entire thing, but there are a lot of good people, millions of good people out there that are working on this together. They are literally creating all of this chaos. Like, how many of you actually think that everything that's happened this year is just organic? Just happened to happen in 2020, the year of the election. The people that are the quote elite that have weaponized these systems to control us in systems of slavery, monetary slavery, debt slavery, different things like that. They're losing control of their slaves, all of us, if you're not part of the cabal. He is systematically breaking down these systems with the white hats, one after another, after another, after another. I'm watching it happen. I mean, people literally got arrested for gang stalking recently. eBay, 7 executives at eBay
Super Soldiers program.
got, sorry, I just got a little emotional just now because it directly affects my life. The people at eBay, the corporation of eBay, I've had an eBay store for 10 years. They have put me through hell trying to just run a business or in an organized fashion, harassing me, gaslighting me, deleting photos out of my store, hundreds, thousands of hours of work that I've put into my store. They have systematically sabotaged me and will go out of their way to not help me when I need help from something they've destroyed. I complained about it. I made YouTube videos about it. A lot of people called me crazy. Why would eBay do that to you? Well, guess what? The Department of Justice arrested 7 eBay executives, the head of global intelligence. Who the hell thought eBay would have a global intelligence officer? The head of safety and security, and several other high up executive positions were literally arrested for organized stalking and harassment of a Massachusetts couple who did nothing more than write a newsletter about them, talking about their corrupt operations. These people flew from California, from all over the United States, to Massachusetts, rented cars with fake license plates, broke into these people's house, put surveillance into their house, put GPS trackers on their car. They sent them packages of a bloody pig mask, cockroaches, a book on how to survive the death of a loved one, a funeral wreath. They systematically stalked and harassed, gang stalked this couple, and they got arrested for it. If the black hats, the cabal, whoever, whatever name you want to give them, were still completely in control, those people would have been left to keep going about their business. That's just one example of people being arrested. There's something every single day. There were 1,000 people arrested with Operation Legend about 2 weeks ago. Was it about 2 weeks ago? Anyway,
Yeah.
very recently, Operation Legend, they arrested 1,000 people. These indictments that are out they're in the process of serving these indictments. The grand juries have already been held. The RICO Act violations have been put into place, and I'm personally, I keep close watch every single day. I get up, I get on Twitter, I get on a bunch of different things to try to see what kind of progress is being made. I get up and I always say, well, it's today the day they saved the world. And as much as I'd like to think that it's going to happen in one day, there's no way possible. There's absolutely no way. They're having to do this in steps, in increments, and take people down day after day after day after day. And it's happening. And President Trump, like I said, is the spearhead of that. So a lot of these weapons that have been created, these systematic weaponized systems that have been created, do work very well. So one of the things that I think that Trump is doing is understanding that those same systems that were created by these people need to be used against them. So they're taking control over those, like Department of Homeland Security. The way that they have operated is unconstitutional and has violated a lot of people's rights. But it seems like the White Hats took over Department of Homeland Security and started using them to arrest rioters and looters in Portland, Oregon, Antifa. And the second that DHS officers started arresting their people, all of a sudden it was a big deal. You hear AOC saying, we don't need secret police. Where were you for the last how many ever years that this was going on? People were reporting this about secret police and about these type of weaponized systems and not saying anything. And all of a sudden, when they're taken over and they're being used against the people that created them, now it's a big deal, and they want to use that transference and projection to make it look like it's all Trump that has created these systems. So he's just smart enough. The guy's got an IQ of 156. He's literally the second smartest president that we've ever had in office. So he's a 5D chess player.
I just want to point that out really quick.
Amanda's pointing out.
He's acknowledging
Okay,
that
all anon private intelligence. It says
happening. There's no
it's
doubt.
happening. There is no doubt there
As far as like
is
eBay.
jobs and training for them.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
like-
absolutely. So, but yeah, so these weaponized systems are being taken over by the white hats. They're boomeranging back and being used against the people that created them. And I'm watching that happen. I'm watching it play out in front of my face. And I'm sure a lot of you are too. If you're not seeing that,
I'm blocking these active.
do your due diligence. Dig in a little more. Try to network to the best of your ability. Find quality people on Twitter. On Facebook's a really tough one. Facebook's terrible. I don't go there anymore.
Me neither.
Parlor, even don't just go to Parlor. It's kind of an echo chamber. Everybody there is like agreeing basically already, and it's just it's a good platform. It needs to be built up. There's no censorship. You can say what you want.
I've already noticed on there though, somebody that I followed back in the beginning, and I don't get on there hardly at all, but got on there the other day on Parlor, and somebody that I apparently followed at some point is on there as a Trump supporter, you know, all the MAGA stuff and everything, but is posting very inappropriate, very obviously not in line with Trump supporter type of stuff in memes so that it doesn't get like algorithm or, and
Taken out by the algorithm.
I'm sure that's probably happening more than we realized, but that's kind of what it was supposed to be, was for.
For no censorship, yeah.
Yeah.
So of course there's
So
people
just use your
that are going to try to infiltrate
discernment
it.
and
They try to taint everything. They try to pervert everything and destroy it. So anything good, they try to systematically take it down.
A non-PI, I just want to address your comment, because things are so aggressive
thank you, Nick.
in Australia. It's great that they're awake to it and calling it out because it's so,
Oh yeah, this is global,
yeah.
by the way. This isn't just here in the
absolutely,
United
no.
States. There
It'll
are-
follow you wherever you go, but they're just pointing out that people are awake to it and they're actually being called out, which I think is great. So
Yeah,
I wanted to acknowledge that.
Well, the blue leaks, and not that I support hacking police files, but something good came out of that. It proved that there are fusion centers. They got information on the Austin Fusion Center and another one. Where was the other one? Anyway, it proved that there are fusion centers and that they're used to disseminate this mass amount of information that's collected on everyone. And I totally blanked out just now. Wow.
What
It was
they're,
like somebody just squeegeed my brain.
But-
what they're ultimately using it for with
Yeah, that. Whew. Like Men in Black. You ever seen the movie Men in Black? And they're like, look at the flashy thing, and then.
According to Bill Wood, they actually exist.
Jeez.
There's a
that
version
was
of that. But
But yeah, so that's where we're going. Somebody said that people are awake to this and they're paying attention,
Yeah.
they're understanding more, and that's because more and more information's coming out. Like I said, the people from eBay got arrested for gang stalking. Exactly what all of us have complained about, and people will say, "Ah, you're delusional, schizophrenic." We have proof now. Fusion centers exist. Whistleblowers like Bill Binney. A whistleblower is actually somebody that has classified information and they break their contract of not saying anything. That's what a true whistleblower is. A lot of people will call me a whistleblower. I'm not. I had some classified information. It was really no big deal at all. But I've never divulged any of the classified information that I was given. I had a secret clearance as far as clearances go, it goes like secret, top secret, and a whole bunch of letters. And I can't confirm nor deny, but I think the top letter is Q. So there's something to think about.
At the London protests this weekend, they were talking about transhumanism.
Oh, yeah, well, that's what this is. Transhumanism.
Yeah, and people are like, oh no, that's,
Oh, no.
people don't want to go there, or that's too.
Well, okay.
Anything that threatens a person's idea of what the world is and how safe they are, or the fact that they think they want to keep the idea that they have control over themselves, their lives, their homes, their families, their finances, their privacy. Not true. At least not right now.
That's
You
cognitive
think you're in
dissonance.
control,
Yeah.
but you're not. You may not be a targeted individual, but you don't have that control. And it's just a very hard reality for most people to accept. It's a harsh reality to believe that patents and stuff have existed for decades with the stuff that they're using on us.
They need regulations on this advanced technology. I mean, it's so.
It's hidden under national security, so they will get away
and
with
it's so
anything
massive that
because of national
how
security.
do you regulate?
Here's an example of what she was just saying about this technology being used for a long time. The first voice-to-skull transmission was done by the Army in 1975, and there's a document that was accidentally received when somebody did a FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act request, that gives a diagram of all the different things that can happen to a human body, and it shows when the first. Gosh, we need better. We need
There's
like a
so
tech
much,
guy so we can bring all this stuff up. But it basically it explains that the first voice-to-skull transmission was done in 1975 by the Department of the Army. So I mean, think from 1975. That's the year I was born. I just turned 45 last March. Thank God I made it that long. I like the number 45 so much better than the number 44. You can figure out why. Anyway.
All in on PI in Australia, you hit the nail on the head. The digital war, no boots on the ground. That's exactly what's going on.
We're in World War III, and it's being done without, well, I almost said without firing a shot.
Yeah.
People are, but it's not, we're not seeing tanks, guns, bombs. We're seeing social engineering and manipulation and this type of bullshit that we're talking about. Sorry. I'm doing my best to watch my mouth. It's kind of hard sometimes.
Gosh, I really want to address any questions. I want to be as supportive as I can to our community, and I will be putting up videos and creating my own channel. I'll add a link. My channel is not developed right now. My Twitter, again, has no image, but I will add links below so that I can get in touch with you guys too. Just wanted to throw that in.
And one thing that I've been saying for a while is getting to know Mike and the TI situation and just everything that goes along with it. And in addition to just knowing all of this stuff and learning about this stuff, what can we do about it? Because I see all these people in the live chat that and they go by so quick, so it's hard to read them all, but I know that there are so many people who don't have somebody sitting with them, or another TI to talk to, or another just a good close friend to talk to. Like, what can we do about this? Me and Amanda were talking about it maybe a week ago, that's something that to me I would really like to try to figure out what can I do, because that's kind of who I am and what I've always been about. I'm not a targeted individual, but learning so much about it, I've also learned how infiltrated it is, and how, like, when you first came to the door, it took him hours to even decide if he was going to let you in, because he was like, she could totally be, and so it's so hard to, like, where do you start and who, but
I'll just say this though, if you're really a TI, you understand that. You understand why most people can't be trusted, and it's something you empathize with. It's you just have
to have the courage to not give up on people and take that personal risk, basically, because that's what they want you to do. They In brackets, they want you to isolate yourself and not make any human connection. And you have to, you have to care about
That's a bigger
other
picture.
people more than yourself sometimes, and just take that leap, I guess. But to answer the question when somebody asks, what can we do about this? Here's the biggest answer is declassifying FISA. Everything's hidden in FISA. FISA brings down the house. It's why General Flynn is still being held up in court. It's why Judge, what's his name? Sullivan is doing something that no other judge has ever done, or is almost, it's an anomaly. Yeah, he's controlled. If he lets General Flynn go, he's probably going to end up in the same situation we're in.
Worse.
Targeted, worse, dead, whatever. So, but General Flynn knows where the bodies are buried. He knows all this information. He knows these weaponized systems that have been created to enslave us. And he's on our side. Clearly, if you've been paying attention. They do not want to let him go, so he has the right to speak, so he can get his freedom back and help us. And that's why they've postponed his court date until after the election. If he could get freed somehow and help declassify FISA, that would be pulling the rug out from under the house of cards, the dominoes.
My screen just went out.
Oh,
Oh, is it not working?
That's okay.
yeah.
That's okay.
So, well, let's see. How long have we been on here? 116 minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Somebody mentioned
Let's
something.
not make it too much longer. Or actually, I don't care. Let's talk until we're done talking.
As far as like,
Actually, on that,
it's a loaded
I'll be right back.
topic to try and address how you would create a safe
Network.
network for TIs, and especially because I believe the targeting is done in such a way and so aggressive that you really do have to question most people that find their way into your life, because 98.9% of those people are people getting paid to interact with you. That's just the reality. And so the topic of trying to create a safe space is a very loaded one, and I believe would have to be done I obviously haven't thought long enough about this yet.
And we
but it's just a loaded topic, and yeah, I'll leave it at that. I think it needs a different video
Yeah.
and some time to address, because
that would be something that, a real discussion about that. Not somewhere where there's going to be so many trolls in here, but definitely need to get some kind of a platform where a lot of the same people, there's a lot of the same people that come into Mike's chats on here that you can tell are, more genuine than some of the other ones. But, and I just want to bring this up just because I think that that's important. Somebody just said something about me being careful, since I'm not a targeted individual, for me to be careful because they might try to start doing this towards me. And one thing that I want to say is I'm not scared. What's the word I'm looking for? Careful, not cautious. I'm making sure that I'm paying attention to what could potentially start happening to me, but I don't ever let that make me nervous or live in fear. And I think that's something that's really important to everybody in general, and that goes along with everything that we're seeing going on in the world. Is just don't, I don't want to get into it too much without, I know we weren't going to get into that whole
Don't
subject, but
live in fear. Yeah, you could say, protect yourself with the armor of God.
yep. And that's a big one for me,
Yeah,
so
don't
that's
live
why.
Service to others. You know, Andrea's getting educated on these topics, listening to me talk about this every day, getting a crash course basically on what this whole thing involves, and not being afraid to just sit here with us and being afraid of the exact same thing happening to her. Now, if it did, everything that she started experiencing, she would know what it is. It wouldn't be out of the blue and, you know, like she had never heard of it before. She'd go, oh, okay, this has been explained to me. So this, you know, it wouldn't, I don't think it would affect her
I don't
as
think
much.
it would work on me at this point.
Oh, it would work. It works
Well,
on
I mean,
anybody.
no,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but
Yeah, the element of surprise and you not knowing what's coming is a big part of it. Like I think Amanda mentioned earlier, when the overt stalking and harassment starts, when they want you to know that you are a targeted individual, so you go complain or, you know, end up.
You were definitely watched long
You're
before
targeting,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
for years.
Yeah.
Who knows how long, but they
Yeah.
put a lot of time and effort into learning more about you than you know about yourself, and then using that information and to manipulate and destroy your life.
The more people you can keep around you, and even if
keep
you
saying
can,
it over and over again.
if you were, oh, what's that?
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, am I repeating? I don't want to repeat.
No,
I was
just
talking about a
somebody-
comment on here.
If the group does not like witnesses. We're 3 people. We see the same things. And that's a deterrent. I'll just put it that way. So I'm trying to offer information to help TIs. You know, if you can find a way to get in a situation where there's witnesses. So when I think of, okay, you have 2 targeted individuals, and I mean, I think the one thing that I imagine that guards or protects like a 3rd or a 4th person is the fact that there's witnesses. They can call one person crazy or delusional, but they can't call 3 people who've seen the same thing crazy or delusional. So I just want to say that
valid.
that and if you're a targeted person, you're gonna realize quickly that about, I really hope this doesn't come back, but that about, I'll say 75% of your targeting dissipates when you are around other people. Sometimes when you just hold up your phone and start recording.
Oh, they back up big time when I start recording.
Not all the time, but it can happen.
Yeah, no, they don't like documentation. They don't like proof. If you aim your phone at them, they'll. Okay, so say you're driving down the street and you aim your phone at a person that's not involved in stalking and harassing you. They're gonna look over at you like, what in the heck is this person doing? When I aim my phone at some of these people, they do this. They don't want their face identified.
They love masks.
They
love the
this
whole
mask
mask
thing.
thing with
They
the
love it.
sunglasses in LA. It's kind of like
Oh, they love it.
they'll literally cover their face and go the other way.
It might be
it's
part of the reason that the mask enforcement went into, that they're enforcing the mask.
Somebody
So
had made a comment
a
that
lot of-
they like the mask thing too.
Yeah,
but
yeah, they love it because they can cover up their face, and there's facial recognition that's identifying them that goes along with their metadata in their phone, their communications, different stuff like that. They don't want that to happen. Bad news for all you perps out there that are doing this, it's already over. They're just letting it play out.
Oh, and
all of the
there's a special surprise for you at the end of this life.
Yeah.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. So the Nuremberg trials 2.0
You
are
don't
coming
have to
up.
be religious.
Nick,
Either.
I agree. Thank you.
What
What
do
did
you
Nick
say?
say? You guys are being protected. I
Thank
believe
you.
okay,
Thank you.
like a couple years ago, I would have. I'm getting kind of stuck here because I'm saying things that I never would have said before. But there has to be a higher power that has looked out for all of us,
Higher intelligence.
higher intelligence, something bigger than us that is looking out for us. Because I wouldn't be sitting here right now explaining all of this to you if there wasn't. I couldn't have done all of this. Not to belittle myself or anything, because I'm pretty confident and sure of myself. But there's some things that I've made it through that there's help somewhere. There's help somewhere.
Q, we love you.
Yeah. And Amanda didn't know about Q
Until I got here.
until she got here. So no, we didn't red pill her. She was already pretty smart and
Thank you.
I knew a lot
And
about
knew a
I
lot
didn't know
about
how
this kind
much
of
I
stuff,
knew. I just was
but she
really.
didn't know about QAnon, which after researching it and connecting some dots, she seems to be a pretty big fan. You a big fan of Q?
I believe I am one.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, what didn't
Yeah, I can't.
Didn't even know it.
Didn't one of the stalkers used to? What was your nickname that they nicknamed you?
Oh gosh. Oh, they called me White Hat. So
And she didn't know what that was.
overtly, when it started, the guy, big reptile-looking dude, I have no idea. Anyway, started following me in the Tarzana gym in California. Who knows? Probably watching right now. But yeah, he nicknamed me White Hat. So thank you for that.
Amanda, are you familiar with Derek Robinson, Ella Free, Neil Chevier,
I don't.
and Frank Allen? They offer telephone podcasts.
I am familiar with them, yes, and I won't say who I've been in touch with, but I will say this. My intuition's pretty high, and not everybody that claims to support TIs is an actual TI. What is that?
Do you think the fusion centers will try to absorb the TI program into QAnon?
That wouldn't even,
That sentence doesn't even go together.
it doesn't even make, yeah.
Not sorry, Alan. Not to put you down or anything, but that
Rephrase the question, maybe.
yeah, maybe because those things don't.
You know what? I would say I would answer that comment question this way. I'm going to refer you again to the videos we recommended, which is Caravan of Midnight, that talk about the AI DJ, and then also Bill Wood's videos where he talks about the work that he is going to do beginning in 2015. And the Law of One. This will give you guys so many answers if you're willing to be open to it. It will give you answers you never thought you could find. I'll just put it that way. I hope, does that make sense? I'm not, my computer screen's off, so.
We need to plug your computer in.
No, it's okay. I mean, should I respond to some of these or?
I was just reading through a couple of them. There's a good amount of nonsense in here,
Yeah.
but there are some good questions too. So there's 110 people watching right now. So
Thank
just
you
wanted
guys.
to thank you
And
all
there's
Thanks
a
for
lot of-
tuning in.
for being here and
Yeah.
listening to this and interacting with this video.
If we missed any questions, it's hard to keep up with because there's so many comments that are coming in, and I have had to block a few of them because they were just completely
Yeah, that's fine.
Trolls.
Yeah. Good moderator. Maybe we should get.
they're all kind of bouncing around everywhere, but I did my best, so.
You do good.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we're at 2 hours. We've been streaming for 2 hours. That's a pretty long video. A lot of people, if they see something that long, they won't click on it and watch it. If it goes much longer, yeah, I don't know. I think we're at like a good stopping point right now.
Yeah.
We introduced Amanda. She got to get her face on YouTube and say, "Hey, I'm Amanda. I'm not, I didn't get deleted."
I still exist. I
Yeah.
didn't disappear.
Alright, yeah.
Thank you so much,
we got the
Mike. Thank you,
answer.
Andrea.
Our pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you all, you guys, for tuning in. And I'll add my links below too, and hope to be in touch with you.
Yeah,
guys.
and we'll continue this in the comments after this is uploaded as a regular video, I guess, and you can get on there and comment. We'll get on there and answer some questions.
Oh,
I
yeah,
usually try to
absolutely.
do that if we didn't get to the ones that are in the live chat, so.
And I'll add the links.
And that'll probably be tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll add the links to
That
the
we talked about
websites that we were
too.
talking about
Yeah.
and some good videos to watch, so. yeah, thanks for
Yeah, and
everybody.
we'll try to do this more. I mean, it's more important than just us.
We've been meaning to for a
We're-
while, and then Amanda showed up, and it was like
We
all of a sudden there was so much more
To process.
learning and researching and processing. and
Bullet through the
it's
window
been-
and.
we didn't even
Yeah.
cover half of it.
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
there's
there's
that.
more too
There's
that
some
we
other
didn't even mention.
stuff that
but,
happened.
yeah.
Some people tried to run my daughter and her friends off the freeway. Bullet through the window.
But it's been a lot of
Other
good,
chaos.
positive.
Yeah. So
And a few positive messages as well, so thank you for those.
yeah. We
That
really
way.
appreciate the positive messages. Those are awesome. To those of you out there that are helping keep an eye on us, we really appreciate that more than you. Well, you could probably imagine, but how much we appreciate it. Thank you to, okay, so on Twitter, there's a little caveat real quick. Today on Twitter, my Twitter handle, if you don't follow me on Twitter, is @MichaelBarden and the number 8. So MichaelBarden, number 8. The window is going to cost probably around $500 to fix. My eBay store, I'm pretty sure, is shadow banned, just like Twitter, Facebook, so they can stifle my sales on certain days. I purchased a storage unit a couple weeks ago. Andrea and I went and cleaned it out, brought all the stuff home, sorted everything out, put some of the stuff on eBay. I had a garage sale and I made a decent amount of money at the garage sale. The 2 days directly after that garage sale, my sales went down to nothing. So, and then the window got shot out. So about $1,000, okay, yep, about $1,000 that I would have had to actually make the bills, to make the payments for the bills this month, went away. So I was short on the bills. I have struggled every month for years now just to pay the bills. I don't get rich doing this. I'll make $30 a month on YouTube, something like that. And like I said, I'm always struggling to pay the bills. This would have been a terrible month. I put that information out on Twitter today, and a few people sent some money. That it looks like I'm going to be able to catch up with the bills. It's still kind of close. So thank you very much to those of you that sent money. If you're willing to help out in any way financially, I'm not a patriot, P-A-Y-T-R-I-O-T. I'm a patriot, P-A-I-T-R-I-O-T. Did I just spell that wrong? Anyway, I'm a real patriot. I'm not here for the money. I'm just trying to pay the bills and survive. So if you want to help out, go to my Twitter account. The link to it. Oh, and I'm not just asking for money through PayPal. I have a business.
eBay.
Go to the eBay store if you're looking for a birthday present or whatever present for anybody, shopping for yourself. There's around 13,000 items in my eBay store that I've spent 10 years building up that inventory. That would help out too. So if you're going to be online shopping, which a lot of people are home online shopping, go to the eBay store. It's hats around the world on eBay. Shop there. So thank you to everybody that's done that. I had to do some kind of promotion here just to keep things going. And don't even think of if you do send a payment through PayPal, don't even think of it as a donation. People pay for cable, and they get lied to by the news every day for that $100, $150 a month that they pay.
Make this a new
Make this
form
one
of
of
a
your
news channel.
a monthly payment, $5 or something like that to help us keep going, to keep putting out this real news, this real journalism, this real citizen journalism, investigation, that will help you personally and help you continue to be red-pilled and, understand the true reality that we're living in. That's it. So thank you again. Oh, geez. And there's Top Chat.
Hey,
Who just sent $50?
Thank you so much.
Somebody just
Thank you.
sent $50. Okay, I'm gonna
go
get to
ahead
that
and find
too.
it.
Thank you.
When did that happen?
Just right now, I think.
Just now, I think.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you very, very much. Oh,
Trevor.
Trevor Hitchin.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
sir.
Trevor.
Trevor's a targeted individual
Thank
as
you.
well. Replies to a lot of my tweets. thanks for sending that, Trevor.
Thank you.
We'll all appreciate it. Okay. Anybody have anything else to add?
I just want to thank you guys for doing the introduction and having me on, and thank you to all of you for tuning in. And my goal is to try and help our community as much as possible, so I will again put links to my channel. If there's no profile picture up, at least you know from this video that it's really me by the name.
Yeah.
I'm working, I'm doing my best to like get around the AI that's been like, you
Phones,
know, inhibiting,
computer.
my ability to do that, but I am working through it, so thank you so much.
Almost forgot to pray for Punisher.
Yes,
Oh, yes,
please.
prayers to him. That's pretty sweet.
Okay, we're back. So we lost our connection. That was impeccable timing. Okay, so maybe that means how important it is for me to say this. So pray for Punisher, my friend Jesse. If you look back through my interviews, I was actually the first person to interview him at all, period. Him and I did an interview together, and he's a plethora of knowledge. He's been kicked off of Twitter like 3 times, but he just recently he's been in a fight his entire life, by basically, we'll just say the dark side. And he's put out a lot of information to help red pill a lot of people. And he just had emergency heart surgery a few days ago. He made it through that, and he's recovering right now.
We prayed for you.
So yeah, we prayed for you, Jesse,
Yeah.
and we're looking forward to hearing from you, man. I know you're not feeling well, but give me a call back or text back and say hi, and just wanted to let you know that we're all praying for you, and everybody else out there, pray for Punisher to make a strong recovery and get back in the game on the good side here. So, all right.
Pray for all TIs. Thank you, Q. Thank you, QAnon. Thank you, Arrestanon. Yeah, just sending some love and light to you guys. Thank you so much.
All right. Is that
Until next time, let's try to do this again soon.
Yes,
Okay.
we'll be on again soon. Thank you so much.
all right, everybody?
We'll talk to you in the comments tomorrow.
Have a good day, afternoon, night, whatever time it is where you're at. Thanks a lot.
Armor of God, we are warriors. That's for sure.
Yep. We
Yeah.
will win.